Revealed. The incredible surprise that transformed my daughter's wedding after she excluded me. Emma stared at Olivia's text for what felt like eternity. The words swirled together, creating a confusing tapestry of betrayal and disbelief. Wedding plans without her? How could the little girl she raised, the child who sang along to their favorite songs in the kitchen, suddenly decide she didn't want her mother by her side? Memories of late-night talks and shared laughter echoed in Emma's mind, dragging her deeper into a pit of sorrow. Each time she turned the calendar pages, the wedding marker loomed larger, heralding an occasion she felt increasingly locked out of T school. Emma commanded respect as the assistant principal of Maple Grove Middle School. She was known for her unwavering dedication to students and staff alike, her presence a comforting constant in their daily whirlwind. But as she navigated the empty halls after hours, a gnawing emptiness shadowed her. The laughter and excitement of her colleagues felt foreign, as if they existed in a world where her pain was invisible. A sharp, visceral ache twisted inside her. How had she sacrificed so much only to be cast aside? There was a neglect deep in her soul, one that left her unsure if she would break down or confront Olivia. Emma hesitated as she watched parents with their children, wondering why her own daughter had chosen to keep her arms outstretched and barricaded. The stakes felt higher, the loneliness sharper, and her heart sank into desperation. It wasn't just about this wedding, it was the entire future of their relationship. Did Olivia even realize how fragile the threads of their bond had become? The mirror of her own past loomed silently over her, reminding Emma of her mother's struggles, the unfulfilled dreams that had shadowed their lives. Just as she was about to drown in the regrets of the past, a glimmer of inspiration sparked when she discovered the dusty journal in the attic. Emma's fingers traced the fabric of wear on its surface, each wrinkle invoking the gentle memories of her mother, who had always encouraged her to embrace creativity. What secrets lay within these pages? Slowly, each turn of the yellowed page revealed long-contained dreams, a hidden talent for floral design her mother had never pursued. The more she read, the more her yearning for connection with her own daughter burned like fire beneath her skin. A tough resolve began to bloom in her heart as she yearned to connect through the art that had drifted unclaimed in her family history. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a simmering anger that mixed with hope, Emma began to craft floral arrangements, pouring her emotions into each one. Friends began to take notice. What started as simple bouquets blossomed into a small business. As wedding day approached, she grappled with the knowledge that she couldn't let Olivia slip away without a fight. The tension built to a heavy crescendo in her mind as she considered confronting Olivia at the wedding rehearsal, armed with flowers that symbolized all the stories threaded together between them. On the day of the rehearsal, as she arrived, her heart raced with every step. What would Olivia's reaction be? Would she recoil at the sight of her mother and the creation birthed from their shared history? Emma's muscles tensed. She could almost feel the weight of happiness and heartbreak lurking in the air around them. Would this confrontation bring them closer, or drive them apart forever? As they faced one another, her heart ached with the knowledge that so much hung in the balance, and just as Olivia's expression shifted to comprehension, a sudden phone call shattered the moment, bringing an unexpected revelation that threatened to change everything they thought they understood about their lives. The phone call, sharp and jarring, cut through the tense atmosphere like a razor. Emma's eyes flitted between Olivia's perplexed face and the glowing screen, revealing an unfamiliar number. A churning mixture of anxiety and anticipation surged within her, each pulse mirroring the depth of their estrangement. "Excuse me, I need to take this," Emma uttered, her voice momentarily betraying the calm she tried to exude. She stepped away, grappling with the turmoil of emotions. Dread and hope coiled within her. "Emma, it's Dale," the voice on the other end began, but all she could process was the name. Dale, her estranged brother, had been out of her life for nearly a decade, ever since their family had fractured over differences that seemed insurmountable. Her mind raced with questions. Why now? Is everything okay? What do you need? she asked cautiously. I know this is unexpected, but I'm in town and I really think we need to talk. He pressed, an uncharacteristic urgency in his tone. Emma's breath caught as she recalled the intensity of their last encounter. It left a gaping wound of unresolved feelings and bitterness. Yet, an insistent part of her yearned for clarity, for closure. Especially now when familial bonds seem so fragile. I can't right now. I'm at my daughter's wedding rehearsal, she stammered, her resolve flickering uncertainly. Emma, I promise I wouldn't reach out if it wasn't important. I'm here to explain everything. Childhood burdens don't just vanish, he said softly. With a heavy heart, Emma felt the half-formed threads of her past tugging at her. This was the very essence of the moments she had buried alongside her mother's journal, longing for connection against a backdrop of fear and conflict. I'll think about it, she replied, her mind in turmoil as she hung up, the weight of the dilemma settling on her shoulders. Could she afford to distance herself from the complexities of her family ties? She rejoined Olivia, the openness of her daughter's expression now tinged with uncertainty, scrutiny hiding behind confusion. Is everything okay? Olivia asked, her voice brittle, eyes scanning her mother's face. Just a call from an old friend, Emma replied, consciously adjusting her tone to one of lightness as she gripped the bouquet she had crafted. The colors were vivid, a spectrum signifying difficulty but also hope, a floral representation of their tangled relationship. A long silence ensued as they exchanged glances, each waiting for the other to break the tension that hummed in the air. Are you all right? Olivia finally asked, breaking the stillness that hung like a curtain between them. I want to talk to you. About us. About everything, Emma ventured, emotions bubbling just beneath the surface as Olivia opened her mouth, ready to speak. Their moment was interrupted yet again this time. The wedding planner approached. But the interruption felt like a merciful retreat, offering a moment of reprieve before what could be a pivotal conversation. Yet Emma knew she was walking a tightrope, balancing between the longing to mend the fissures with Olivia, and the weight of family wounds reopening with her brother's call. In this critical moment, she understood her choice now extended beyond a confrontation with Olivia. It encompassed the legacies of family complexities, the challenge of reconciling the past, and how they would maneuver structurally fragile hearts. As the rehearsal continued and laughter rang through the air, Emma stood there quietly assessing what she might lose or gain. The pressure tightened around her heart, her dual battles felt intertwined. How could she weave a narrative of love amidst the frayed edges of history? With her chest heavy yet ignited with the promise of new beginnings, she resolved to face both her daughter and the demons of her childhood. The choice loomed large. Either a path of understanding, or a continued retreat from the warmth of love that was still within reach. Just before the rehearsal closed, Emma's phone buzzed again, Dale's name flashing once more on the screen. Would she brave the unknown with him or allow her newly kindled flame of creativity and connection with Olivia to steer her forward? The moment felt electric with tension, each vibration echoing the urgencies of fate. Emma's hand hovered above the screen, torn between the present and the past. What would she choose? Emma felt her heart race, the vibration of her phone resonating not just with the fear of confronting Dale, but with the weight of the decision that lay ahead. In the midst of the joyful noise surrounding the wedding rehearsal, a cacophony of familial laughter and whispered excitement, her world narrowed down to a single moment, her finger hovering over the call button. What if this conversation with Dale shifted everything? She closed her eyes for a brief moment, allowing the whirlwind of her emotions to crest and crash, like waves upon the shore of her consciousness. Would reconnecting with her brother dredge up anguish that had long since settled? Or could it be the catalyst she needed to fully embrace her daughter's journey into adulthood, standing there as a more complete version of herself? As the rehearsal concluded, and the bridal party broke into animated discussions about the upcoming ceremony, Emma made her choice. She needed to face the open wound of her relationship with Dale because in doing so, she could better face the intricate patterns of her relationship with Olivia. There was empowerment in that realization, a lightness that began to replace the weight pressing down on her shoulders. Mom! Olivia's voice pulled her back into the moment. Emma turned to find her daughter's eyes searching her own, the question unspoken but lingering in the air. Can we talk now? Of course, Emma breathed, her heart settling into a resolute rhythm. They found a secluded spot beneath the lush branches of a nearby oak, the world fading away, leaving just the two of them wrapped in a bubble of intimacy. The air smelled faintly of fresh blooms, and Emma's heart fluttered at the profundity of the moment. "I'm sorry for not telling you about the call," Emma started, grappling with the reality of her unshared emotions. "It was Dale. My brother." A wave of confusion washed over Olivia's face. "Your brother? I didn't even know he was in town. I haven't spoken to him in years," Emma clarified. "After everything that happened, I didn't think it was possible to reconcile. But now it feels different. I realize that I need to understand my past to fully embrace my present and support you in your future." Olivia studied her mother's face, processing the gravity of her words. "So what are you going to do?" "I want to meet him. Not just for me but also for us, for our family. I want to be someone you can rely on, free from the shadows of unresolved tension." "Are you sure about this?" Olivia pressed, vulnerability dripping from her tone. "Not at all," Emma admitted, a hint of a smile forming. "But I want to be brave. Not just for me but for you, for our family." "You're so much stronger than you think," Olivia replied softly, reaching out to grip her mother's hand. Their eyes locked, and in that shared gaze, a wealth of understanding passed between them. Emma felt a sense of courage igniting within her, fueled by the supportive bond they were forging. It was not merely about the impending encounter with Dale, it was about learning to be the mother Olivia needed, without the weight of her past thundering above them as they began to walk back to the rehearsal, laughter bubbling around them like vibrant sparklers bursting in the night sky. Emma couldn't help but feel an unshakable resolve, but just as hope began to bloom within, her phone buzzed once more, jerking her from her reverie. This time it was a text from Dale, the simplicity of his words landing heavily on her heart. "I hope you're willing to meet. Let us not waste any more time." Emma hesitated, the future dense with possibility. The thread connecting her past to her present stood taut before her, and the question loomed larger than ever. Would she have the courage to confront the ghost she thought she had left behind while still nurturing the vibrant future she envisioned for her and Olivia? The wedding day dawned with a crispness in the air that felt invigorating yet laden with expectation. Emma moved through the morning rituals with practiced grace, the soft strokes of makeup serving as a mask for her inner turmoil. Each brush stroke felt deliberate, as though she was painting the person she wished to be. Calm, poised, and fully present for Olivia. Yet the anxious undercurrents surged beneath her composed surface. Moments passed, filled with laughter and joy as family and friends buzzed around preparing for the ceremony. Yet, even amidst the vibrant energy, Emma's thoughts drifted back to Dale, the brother whose absence had echoed through her life like a haunting melody she couldn't quite forget. With every cheerful exchange she overheard, the pang of unresolved feelings tugged at her. Could she really embrace a future when her past loomed so close? As the time slipped away, she lapsed into a moment of introspection. What if this reunion with Dale didn't go the way she hoped? Would she be able to manage the emotional fallout without disturbing the precious bond she had with Olivia? The uncertainty chafed at her resolve. But those doubts began to shift as Emma considered her daughter's transition into womanhood. This day was not solely about the wedding. It was also a milestone in both of their lives. In her heart, Emma recognized that confronting Dale could fuel her growth as a mother, demonstrating to Olivia that strength is not found merely in avoidance, but in facing challenges head-on. She needed to embody that lesson today. With renewed determination, she took a deep breath, setting the thought of Dale aside just long enough to focus on the radiant figure of Olivia, as she twirled in a beautiful gown that shimmered with every movement. The sight stole Emma's breath. It was as if the girl she had once cradled had transformed into a stunning woman almost overnight. She wouldn't allow anything, least of all her own past, to overshadow this moment. Yet, the phone vibrated in her pocket again, this time with a message that set off alarm bells in her mind. It was from Dale. "Are we still on for later? I've been thinking a lot about what I want to say." Emma's heart raced as she typed a response, her fingers trembling slightly on the screen. "Yes, let us meet. I'll find you after the reception." There was a finality to her words that felt both liberating and terrifying. The ceremony unfolded around her, the vows exchanged, the laughter shared, and Olivia's radiant smile making everything feel momentarily perfect. Yet still a shadow loomed in her thoughts. What if the reunion with Dale was not the healing she envisioned? What if it reignited long-buried resentments instead of serving as a bridge toward reconciliation? Tension curled in her stomach as the emotional complexity of the day settled beside her, growing heavier with each passing moment. But as Olivia danced with her new husband, the joy on her daughter's face cast a light that pushed back against the encroaching dark. Emma saw the love surrounding them, friends and family united by bonds of love and support. As the night turned into a celebration of love, Emma made a choice. She would lead with honesty and courage. She would confront Dale not just for her sake, but for Olivia's, defining her role as a mother willing to embrace her flawed, complicated history as a path toward a brighter future. The reception swirled around her like a vibrant tapestry, each stitch woven by laughter and joyful celebration. But just as the moment grew most beautiful, Emma's resolve was tested once more when she turned to face an unexpected guest, one who hadn't been on the guest list but carried the weight of the past on their shoulders. Her breath caught as her heart raced. The moment of truth was closer than she anticipated, and she had to choose how to respond. Would she maintain her bravery, or would the past seep through the cracks, threatening to unravel everything she had worked so hard to build? The unexpected figure loomed before Emma, familiar yet foreign, stirring memories she had tried so hard to bury. Her pulse quickened while her mind raced through encounters lost to time, lost in a haze of hurt and regret. Hadn't she come here to celebrate, to break free from her past? Yet now that past had returned to haunt her, she forced herself to take a step back, needing distance to compose her thoughts. The lines of her carefully constructed emotional wall were being tested with every passing second. How could she face what lay before her when even the ground felt uncertain beneath her feet? The dance floor faded to a blur as she grappled with the reality of this moment. Emma! The voice was tinged with hesitation, a cloying nostalgia that both soothed and stung. The speaker drew closer, revealing an old friend, Maya. A childhood confidant with the power to evoke laughter and tears in equal measure. The years had altered Maya, but not the shared histories that bound them. "Why are you here?" Emma asked, sharpness edging into her tone. Her defensiveness felt more like a lifeline than an attack, a fragile shield against the storm of emotion brewing within. "I heard about Olivia's wedding. I had to see it." "See you," Maya replied, her eyes searching for understanding. "I know things have changed between us, but I regret how we lost touch." Emma clenched her jaw. Regret? It was always tied to the past, where sorrows lingered. She realized she needed to tread carefully. This wasn't only a reunion, it was a reckoning. "I'm busy," she replied, gritting her teeth and pivoting away. Emma recognized that she had done it again, retreating, huddling back into her shell rather than confronting discomfort. Did she really want to allow unresolved feelings to dictate her actions? But as she walked away, she felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. Avoiding issues wouldn't encourage growth. Not for herself or for Olivia. Her daughter needed an example of how to live authentically, to embrace life and craft relationships with intention. A part of her knew she would have to address Maya, to redeem herself from this moment of weakness. Stealing her resolve, Emma turned back. "Wait," she said, finding the courage to confront not just Maya but also her own complacency. "We should talk." Maya's face lit up with a mixture of surprise and relief, and Emma could feel her own heart rate slow as she opened herself up to this conversation, however fraught it might be. "We both have a lot to unpack," Emma offered, channeling the bravery she felt stirring after each laugh shared at the reception. "Tell me why you really came." As the words left her lips, Emma understood. This wasn't just about catching up. It was a pivotal moment in her journey, a moment to rekindle connections and confront the shadows that plagued her relationships, especially with Dale. Those ghosts needed to be tamed, for the sake of her future and Olivia's. Maya leaned closer, excitement and trepidation mingling in her expression. "We can't change the past, but we can learn from it. Maybe now it's also time to let go." Emma hesitated, her mind racing again. Let go. Learn. The concepts twisted together in her thoughts, evoking a realization. If she could start here, with small steps toward the difficult conversations, perhaps she could also manage a different meeting, one with Dale that aligned with the courage she had stirred. "Let us start then. Here and now," Emma replied, feeling the walls she had built around her begin to crumble. "We owe it to ourselves." As the music and laughter blurred, she felt the intense shift within herself, knowing it was just the beginning of reckoning with her past, both with Maya and the looming conversation with Dale. But there was still an unresolved tension threading through the room, aching to unfurl. Would facing her demons empower her? Or would the confrontation with Dale draw forth an even darker side of her? The answer felt awash in uncertainty, lingering before her, waiting to spill over. Emma took a breath, collecting her thoughts as she stood in front of Maya. This was more than just a long overdue conversation. It served as a catalyst for everything that had been simmering beneath her surface. Beneath the tangle of emotions, she found a sense of purpose. "Let us talk about the past," she suggested, biting her lip, aware that this might be the moment that unlocked years of silence. "What do you regret?" Maya's gaze shifted, apprehension flickering across her features. "I regret how we let life pull us apart," she admitted, her voice softening. "After college, I focused so much on my career that I barely noticed when we were drifting apart. I'm sorry I didn't reach out. I didn't know you needed me." Emma felt a strange tightness in her chest. She had spent countless nights grappling with feelings of isolation amidst genuine friendships. Yet here was Maya, laying bare the vulnerability of their shared experience. "I didn't reach out either," Emma confessed. "I thought I could manage on my own. I didn't want to burden anyone." "And what about now?" Maya asked gently, her eyes probing. Emma's resolve flared. This discussion was opening a door she had nearly closed permanently. "I want to own my feelings," she replied, her tone firm. "I can't keep running away. I owe it to Olivia to model how to confront emotions, to face choices rather than hide from them." As Emma spoke, she could feel the release of long-held fears intermeshing with an invigorating courage. Perhaps these painful discussions were less of a liability and more of a stepping stone toward strength. Maya nodded, understanding, slowly replacing the apprehension in her eyes. "It's a brave stand, Emma. But fleeing from this won't just affect you. It will ripple outwards to Olivia. She deserves to see you as you are, flawed but striving." Flawed but striving. Emma could latch onto that sentiment. The clarity brought forth by Maya's words resonated within her, stirring an eclectic mix of emotions. It illuminated the iron grip of her fears, yet she felt inspired to push through the discomfort that had defined so much of her existence. "What if we start small?" Maya proposed. "What if I help you gather the courage to talk to Dale? You don't have to tackle everything at once. Think of it like practice, because truly, facing him might be the hardest test of all." Emma swallowed hard at the mention of Dale. Even the sound of his name ignited a flicker of anxiety, yet Maya's unwavering faith acted as a sturdy foundation beneath her. She nodded, her heart racing at the thought of that confrontation. I think I'd like that." The conversation meandered through memories and realizations, each moment eroding the walls that had kept them apart, their joys resurfacing through honest dialogue. Emma found herself opening up. They exchanged not only the bittersweet feelings of nostalgia, but also strategies to cope with emotional turbulence. Each laugh and sigh brought clarity and connection, pieces of a puzzle she had once believed were lost forever. As the evening wore on, Emma felt lighter, yet her thoughts were still tangled in the enormity of what lay ahead. "Tonight isn't just about us reconnecting, is it?" she observed, realizing that reshaping her future entailed so much more. Maya's expression grew solemn. "No, it's not. It's the first step. Just remember, even the darkest nights can lead to dawn. You have to believe you can move forward." Emma glanced toward the dance floor, where couples twirled and laughter erupted in waves. She began to take in the reality that she, too, could dance through discomfort. Yet, even as she battled with newfound resolve, the image of Dale settled heavily in her thoughts. The past wouldn't remain dormant for long. Emma understood this. She would need to confront him, and she would need to do it soon. "Let us do it together," she proposed with surprising determination. "But I need clarity about my feelings first. I can't let doubt dictate this next talk. Just remember, confronting someone who embodies your past doesn't mean you have to stay there. It means you're willing to move forward," Maya affirmed. Emma felt the weight of that insight. What would it mean to face Dale with a clear sense of purpose? The uncertainty around that meeting coiled tightly around her heart. But this time, she was more determined than ever to seek answers, clarity, and possibly peace. The night had begun to shift into something transformative. She knew that facing Dale would not be trivial. It would be the ultimate test of her evolution. As anticipation mingled with dread, the question loomed ominously in her mind. Was she truly prepared to confront the skeletons of her past? The moment of truth awaited, and she could almost feel its presence leaning heavily against her. The morning light infiltrated Emma's small apartment, warm and unrelenting, nudging her towards consciousness. She lingered for a moment in bed, the sheets tangled around her limbs, an unfamiliar ache thrumming with anticipation. Today was a day that demanded her presence. It wasn't just another day. It marked the outset of her confrontation with Dale. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, her heart racing as the threads of yesterday's discussion with Maya playfully tangled through her thoughts. Each notion she had expressed loomed like a distant echo. I need clarity about my feelings. The phrase danced in her mind, weaving in and out as she navigated her multifaceted emotions. In front of the mirror, Emma scrutinized her reflection, waging an internal battle with the image staring back at her. The soft curls framing her face appeared to mock her, a stark reminder of her childhood insecurities. In that moment of introspection, her fingers brushed against the small scar on her brow, a remnant of a past filled with unaddressed conflicts. A surge of determination flickered within her. Today was a reckoning, and she wouldn't let the past define her as she prepared for the day. Each item she chose felt loaded with significance. The navy blouse wrapped snugly around her shoulders, both professional and sentimental, acting as a shield against the anxiety gnawing at her insides. The decisions she made today wouldn't just shape her relationship with Dale. They would redefine her sense of self. Emma stepped outside, the crisp air biting at her cheeks, invigorating her mind. She pulled out her phone, the screen bright against the morning haze, and stared at Maya's text from the night before. "You are ready. Don't forget that." She knew these words were her guiding light, yet doubt still clung to her. Was she really prepared to unearth the truth that lay buried beneath months of silence and unresolved feelings? The drive to the cafe where she would meet Dale felt endless. Each red light flicked by like a countdown to confrontation, every minute stretching painfully long. She rehearsed what she might say, cycling through versions of the confrontation inside her head. Would she start by expressing how abandoned she felt? Or would she highlight their shared memories, the moments that now felt tinged with bitterness? The thought of anger and heartache passed through her like storm clouds, darkening her heart. Arriving at the cafe, she parked and wiped her clammy hands on her jeans. As she walked toward the entrance, her stomach twisted in knots. The aroma of coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the cacophony of laughter and conversation, yet surefire anxiety overshadowed any warmth the atmosphere provided. Emma stepped inside, scanning the surroundings for Dale. His silhouette emerged, familiar yet distant, stirring recognition mingled with trepidation. Sitting at a table in the corner, he looked older, a few more lines etched into his face, but it was the eyes she recognized instantly. Those eyes possessed a shadow of the man she once loved, a ghost of easier times. As she approached him, her heart thumped loudly in her chest, the rhythm synchronizing with the growing resolve within her. Today was about reclaiming her voice, a voice that had been stifled for far too long by fear and resentment. "Dale," she said, her voice steadied by undeniable urgency. He looked up, surprise fleeting across his face before settling into something she couldn't quite place, perhaps guilt, perhaps nostalgia. The moment was heavy with the gravity of what lay ahead. Would they discuss reunion and closure? Or would they join forces against memories that had served as both comfort and cage? "Emma," he replied, and she felt the weight of her past bearing down on them both. Taking a deep breath, she prepared to unveil a truth long hidden. Yet the pulse of uncertainty lingered. Would facing him reveal the freedom she yearned for, or ensnare her deeper into shadows? This wasn't just about Dale anymore. It was about her, about redefining her narrative. As they settled into an uncomfortable silence, Emma realized she had to take the plunge into the depths of her feelings, regardless of the future. The conversation hung thickly in the air, punctuated by an impending clash of unresolved dreams, and the daunting possibility of reconciliation. What she would discover might just change everything. Emma held Dale's gaze, a mix of confusion and nostalgia swirling between them. With every passing second, she felt the weight of history pressing against her chest. He looked so different yet the same, a paradox that stole her breath. The cafe buzzed around them, oblivious to the emotional turmoil unfolding at their table. "Can we talk?" she finally managed to say, her voice quieter than she intended. Dale nodded, and as his eyes shifted to the table, the familiar crease formed between his brows, an indication of his discomfort. Perhaps he felt the enormity of this moment, just as she did. She searched for the right words, the ones that would illuminate her tangled emotions instead of igniting old resentments. "Do you remember that summer we spent at the lake?" Emma ventured, her voice cautiously nostalgic. A faint smile flickered at the corners of his mouth, and it sent a jolt of bittersweet warmth through her heart. "Yeah, the one where we tried to catch those fish for the barbecue that turned into a disaster." She chuckled, but the laugh caught in her throat. "You were always more interested in the boat than the actual fishing." As they reminisced, a fragile comfort began to blanket the tension. Emma felt her resolve harden. This wasn't just a conversation about shared memories. It was about the narrative they had built together, albeit one marred by hurt and silence. "But over time we drifted, didn't we?" Dale's expression shifted, the smile fading. "I didn't mean to push you away, Emma. Life just got in the way." "Life got in the way, or was it you?" Her heart raced as she questioned him directly. "What really happened, Dale? Why was it okay to just vanish?" His eyes widened, and in that long-awaited moment of confrontation, she felt as if she had pierced through the fog that had clouded their relationship. He opened his mouth, hesitated, then closed it again. The silence was deafening, charged with unspoken truths. "I didn't want to hurt you," he said finally, his voice more subdued. "I thought distancing myself would help. I didn't handle things right." Emma's heart twisted at the acknowledgement, but beneath that hurt, there lay a flickering ember of understanding. "I deserved better than silence." Saying it out loud wrapped around her like a shield, invigorating her with newfound strength. She realized she was confronting not just Dale, but her own choices, the ones that allowed this fracture to remain unaddressed for far too long. "I thought you would be angry, or that maybe you would just move on," Dale admitted, vulnerability echoing in his tone. "But I didn't," she returned sharply. "I was left alone to wonder about everything. About us." Dale shifted uncomfortably. The air was thick with regret and opportunity. "What do we do now?" Emma contemplated the question, a rush of emotions flooding her mind. "I don't have all the answers, but I want to rebuild. Not just with you, but for myself. I deserve to reclaim my voice, my own narrative." His brows knitted together in concern. "Emma, that's a difficult path." "It is, and it starts here," she said, the finality in her tone unmistakable. "No more hiding from the truth." Dale exhaled slowly, realizing perhaps for the first time that confronting their shared past might lead to healing. Emma felt a surge of empowerment at the thought. This was not just about a conversation with Dale. It was a pivotal moment in her life. "Can we at least try to communicate better?" he asked. "Communication is just the beginning," she replied, her voice steady and unwavering. "I want to rebuild trust, honesty, everything we lost. But it will take commitment from both of us." As they began to sketch out a path forward, Emma felt the pressure of years of silence softly dissipating. Instead, it was replaced with a burgeoning hope, a flicker that grew stronger with every word exchanged. Yet she knew they were standing at the precipice of something larger than either of them could imagine. "There is so much we need to discuss," she whispered, her heart thumping wildly, aware that the conversation was just beginning. And suddenly, the thought of moving forward didn't fill her with dread, but an exhilarating rush of possibility. She prepared for their next steps. The realization sparked within her. The journey of self-discovery wasn't just about regaining lost time, but paving pathways toward newfound horizons. Emma, however, sensed an underlying tension fester. Could Dale truly embrace this change? And was she ready to face the emotional turbulence still ahead? As they wrapped up their conversation, a wave of anticipation washed over her, both thrilling and daunting. Together, they were about to enter uncharted territory, and Emma steeled herself for what lay ahead. The true test of her growth was yet to come, when she would ultimately confront the deepest fear lurking in her heart. What if some truths were too painful to bear? The cafe buzzed around Emma, the familiar sounds morphing into a muted backdrop as she turned inward, grappling with the weight of the conversation. Each sip of her now lukewarm coffee reminded her that time was slithering away, an uninvited guest at the table of her thoughts. No longer could she afford to keep her emotions under wraps. They were barreling forward like a freight train, and it was time to get on board. "Can we begin with the things we avoided?" she asked, masking her own trepidation with a brave front. Dale nodded slowly, a flicker of comprehension dawning in his expression. This was crucial. They were on the precipice of confronting not just their shared wounds but the silenced parts of themselves. "Let us talk about everything," he said hesitantly. As he spoke, Emma's mind dived deeper. The decades spent tiptoeing around issues resurfaced. The friendships they lost, the silence that had grown like an insidious vine. It dawned on her this wasn't merely about their fractured connection. "I've spent so much time wondering why I let myself be quiet," she admitted, her voice firm. "I never spoke up. Not with you, not with anyone." The realization hit like a hammer on an anvil. She had shaped her identity around fears and expectations. Dale, who had been a part of her formative years, represented a pivotal point of inaction that had defined her adulthood. In that moment, she resolved to reclaim her narrative. Bit by bit, she would untangle the self-doubt that had kept her passive for far too long. "I can't keep doing this," she continued, her words pouring out with conviction. "I've chosen silence and avoidance, and it has cost me so much. Not just you but myself." Dale shifted, searching her gaze. "How do you plan to change that?" Emma took a breath and steadied her heart. "Begins with you. We need honesty, Dale. No more half-truths, no more hiding behind silence. Truth can be painful, but it's a necessary discomfort." The conviction in her voice felt electric, a surge of clarity that sent a thrill through her nerves. His expression softened, hinting at an emotional acknowledgement of the task ahead. They were at a crucial junction, a defining moment not just for their relationship but for her self-development. "I'm willing to try," he said, the promise wrapped in uncertainty. But the truth, it might hurt. A knot twisted in her stomach as she considered the weight of his words. Pain was inevitable, but growth surged from discomfort, she reminded herself. "I understand," she replied. "But I'm ready. I need to know who you truly are and who I've been losing." With that, the air became charged with potential energy particles of honesty eager to burst forth. Emma recognized that this was not merely Dale's confession. It was a launching pad for her own emancipation. She could no longer be the passive character in her story. As their conversation deepened, Emma felt a dawning light about confronting her fears not just regarding Dale but her life choices. There were hidden compartments within her psyche waiting to be unearthed. A desire blossomed to explore talents she had neglected: writing, art, even speaking her mind without fear of judgment. "Have you ever thought about the things you wish you had done?" she asked, her voice laced with curiosity. The answer was more than just a session of mutual examination. It formed a bridge toward their evolving selves. "I've spent years avoiding what I wanted, scared of the consequences," Dale admitted. "And now I want to face it." As his eyes flickered with recognition, Emma felt like they were both on the cusp of profound changes. "Then let us do it together," she breathed, an impulsive offer illuminating the depths of their vulnerability. In those moments filled with hope and determination, Emma felt alive in ways she hadn't in years. The thrill of uncovering latent passions mingled with the apprehension of what lay ahead. "Let us meet again," Emma suggested, her tone turning serious. "But this time let us bring our honest selves to the table. I'll write down my thoughts, process everything I've kept buried. We'll unveil the truths," he agreed. A pact sealed between them as they left the cafe. Emma felt the exhilarating pulse of possibility quickening her steps. She was not just pushing for communication with Dale. This was about unearthing her essence, buried beneath years of silence. Yet, lurking just ahead was an unsettling thought: what if the truth she dug up were more than she could bear? Emma's heart raced at the prospect. Change was in the air, but the fear of that transformation tightened its grip around her as she considered what she might discover about herself next. The mere thought of it sent shivers down her spine. Was she truly prepared for the revelations that awaited? As Emma navigated the turbulent waters of her past, the vibrant colors of her present surged forth, illuminating the path ahead. No longer just a passive participant in her own story, she found herself stepping into her power, forging an identity rooted in authenticity and resilience. The conversations with Dale had catalyzed an internal awakening, forcing Emma to confront not only her familial wounds but also the damning silences she had woven into her psyche. The next week became a turning point saturated with introspection. Emma dedicated herself to documenting her thoughts, fears, and aspirations in her journal, a practice centered on honoring not just her voice, but the voices of those around her. Each entry became a canvas, painted with her honest experiences and the emotional truths she had previously kept shrouded in darkness. In acknowledging her struggles, Emma felt an undeniable lightness beginning to lift her just as the first rays of dawn sweep away the night. She discovered that sharing her unfiltered insights with Dale transformed their connection, illuminating the path toward reconciliation. With every meeting that followed intentional and thoughtful, they peeled back layers of regret and misunderstanding. Dale, too, began to reciprocate honesty, recounting his own battles with vulnerability and insecurity. Their discussions grew into an authentic partnership built on transparency, threading together the fabric of their intertwined lives. Emma realized that by facing Dale, she was not only healing their relationship but also energizing her quest for self-discovery, transforming pain into purpose. On a particularly sunny morning, Emma received an unexpected notification from her school principal, inviting her to present at an educational conference. Hesitation clawed at her. It had been years since she'd spoken before an audience, but the clarity she had gained through her recent experiences banished her apathy. She accepted the invitation, determined to harness her newfound confidence and share her journey of transformation in a way that would empower others. The day of the conference arrived, and as Emma stood before a room filled with educators eager to learn, she felt an exhilarating rush that eclipsed her earlier fears. With each word she spoke, she demonstrated how confronting her history and unveiling her truth had spurred not only personal growth but professional transformation as well. The audience resonated with her narrative, responding with nods and murmurs of approval. Emma basked in the feedback, understanding that her vulnerability had inspired hope and connection where it mattered most. As she stepped off the stage, the applause resonated like music to her ears. It was a recognition she had waited for, a symbol of the journey she had traveled, a journey marked by confrontation, honesty, and healing. This was a triumphant moment, a testament to her growth, as she had not only reconciled familial bonds but had also stepped into her professional light, confident in her ability to inspire others. Later that evening, still riding the high of her presentation, Emma met Dale to reflect on their shared progress. A warmth enveloped them as they realized how their commitment to rebuilding their relationship had yielded personal victories, fostering a dynamic that both could lean into. She confessed how her experiences had shaped her approach to life, empowering her to carve out a space in which she could thrive. "I'm proud of you, Emma," Dale said, his pride evident in his humble tone. "You've done the hard work not just for us but for yourself." Emma smiled, the magnitude of her journey washing over her. The fragmented relationship she once feared would be forever broken had become a stronghold of hope, filled with new chapters waiting to be written. There was a burgeoning acceptance of her identity, an acknowledgement that she was deserving of connections past, present, or future that honored her authentic self. In that moment, she understood the beauty of resilience, the infinite reminder that scars could serve as bridges to deeper understanding rather than barriers. With each reflection upon her story, Emma grasped the significance of authenticity, not just in her familial relationships, but in every aspect of her life. She embraced the interconnectedness of her experiences, each serving as a stepping stone toward the woman she had become. Ultimately, Emma had conquered her fears, transforming them into sources of empowerment. She had transitioned from a place of pain and confusion to a solid confidence and established position in her narrative. Emma felt recognized for her competence both as a daughter and a professional, truly a remarkable achievement worthy of celebration. In her heart, Emma held a vow for continued growth, one where she would remain committed to authenticity moving forward. The past no longer dictated her interactions. Each victory bore witness to her resilience. Emma had irrevocably changed, strengthened by her journey's challenges, and ultimately emerged not just as a daughter or an educator, but as a flourishing individual who had embraced her truth. It was her time to shine, to express herself without reservation. Emma was ready for whatever lay ahead, a future crafted by her own hands, lit by the clarity she now wore as armor. If you want to celebrate Emma's journey and be part of empowering narratives like this, you need to subscribe now to the channel. This is the moment to show your support. So don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment below with your reactions and theories about Emma's transformation and what it means for all of us. Let us keep inspiring one another through these incredible stories.